Joe, I want to talk to you about another one of your former fighters in what I consider to be one of the best fights of the year, if not the... I mean, I know we're only in March. I think it's going to stand up there for the rest of the year as well, which is Callum Smith.
Yeah.
In the fight against Josh Buatsi. I mean, I phoned you before I did that up front with Callum Smith to get some background on Callum. And when I spoke to Callum, obviously he'd come off the back of the Beterbiev loss and he wasn't sure what he was going to do and he only wanted meaningful fights. That was some performance, wasn't it?
It was an unbelievable performance. The bad thing, it was so early in the card. And it wasn't in the UK. But the trouble is we're all wise after the event because that would have been a hard sell at the hotel because both of them not big ticket sellers and that would have been a hard sell at Liverpool. But the two of them, that fight, that's a proper throwback fight. Full credit to Josh Buatsi. I don't know how he stood up from some of them punches. And just when he was on the point of getting fingered, he'd come back and catch Callum with a headshot and then Callum suffered a nasty cut and another cut inside it. But the two of them, it was just like a proper old school. We always harp on about the 80s and the fights way back then, your Holyfields and stuff like that. But Callum Smith, Josh Buatsi, that's a fight that'll stand the test of the time.
Were you surprised? I mean, I think I like all the Smith brothers. I mean, you were obviously with Paul when he lost to Arthur Abraham, weren't you?
Yeah.
And which was, by the way, unjust in that fight. Or got a draw, didn't he, first time around? And he won the first fight, didn't he? But did you see Callum being able to roll back a little bit? I mean, the level that he operated on, but just Josh picked the wrong fight there, didn't he, in terms of who the opponent was?
I think because Callum, they've always seen Callum as an upright kid and a sharp check left hooker. But I know Callum has got that grit and the desire and that backbone in him that, no, if you want it, I'll stand and have it with you to an extent. And Josh Buatsi came with him. And listen, you can see on the TV, Callum got caught with the odd body shot where he thought, oh, he's got to go down. Yeah. But that resolve, Callum's like, no. And I felt there was an awful lot on the line for Callum. And I thought, Callum, yeah, you lost to Beterbiev, you lost to me, but I can't lose domestically. I'm top dog domestically, and that was another edge to it, do you understand? And he did it, he dug in, and it didn't surprise me. I thought it'd get to a dogfight sooner or later, and no, but Callum, it was just a brilliant fight. I'd love to go back and watch it again. It was that good a fight.
I also think when people talking about a calculated gamble that it was for Joshua Buatsi, which it was in many ways, but we must remember that he's been a pro for 9 years. He had to step up at some point, and looking at it on paper, you go, Callum Smith's been there, and how much his desire's left, and all of those, you take all those into consideration. If you're in Buatsi's shoes, you go, this is the time, we've got to go. But I think they both showed great resolve and come through the way they did.
In terms of matchmaking, I personally, I don't know what you think, Joe, I think he would have been better off, and they couldn't make it for a variety of reasons. But when you fight, with due respect, Dan Aziz and Willie Hutchinson, and then you step in against a world-class operator like Callum Smith, who if he's still in the right frame of mind and wanting it as much as potentially we allude to because he had things to prove, you put yourself in the way of jeopardy, and it would have been better off with Yard rather than Callum Smith.
Yeah, Buatsi Yard was a big London fight that I think everyone's missed. Listen, Josh can come back and still do that, but will it sell? I suppose so. Anthony Yard, Tunde, they're all great talkers. He's fighting Lyndon Arthur. But for Callum Smith now, listen, he's got to sit there, wait for one of the belts to come apart, and then obviously fight for a world title. And that's his goal, to be a two-weight world champion. It was always in him, always destined to be, and he has got it. And if you look at who he's lost to, Canal and Beterbiev, it's not a bad resume, is it?
Exactly. We see the rematch now of Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, I realise that you ain't going to be getting any Christmas cards anytime soon from his dad, but
no Chinese from his dad.
No, absolutely.
Bosh.
Yeah,
listen. Look, I stand by what I say. You know,
I don't think
look at it, and I've watched the fight
actually
again, and there was a one winner for me, and that was Dave Allen. I thought he's hard done by, and that's what it is. You know, we're entitled to our opinion. So if people are getting upset about it and emotional, you understand because he's invested. It's his son. We get the fight again.
But Johnny's done the right thing, though.
That's what I'm saying. That we get the fight again, and that's great that Johnny Fisher stepped up and gone, look, let's do it. Let's go in for the second fight because it shows his character, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great fight.
What did you make of the first fight, Joe?
No, it's a very good fight. I think obviously the Dave Allen, it's which Dave Allen turns up on the night.
Yeah.
Dave Allen can blow hot and cold. I think that fight, he came with it all because he was written off. But now Johnny's more aware of what Dave brings to the table, and can Dave be any better for this rematch now? Do you understand? He's hurt him, he's caught him a couple of times. I mean, he knows who's his confidence lifted. Is he here now just for this rematch, or can he get the win this time and kick on and relight his career?
But Johnny Fisher will have learnt some big lessons in that fight, won't he?
Oh, he would have learnt huge lessons, and he would have to start the favourite going into this one, Johnny Fisher, because I think he'll go back to the drawing board. Mark Tibbs is a great trainer as well, and they would have worked on stuff, and they'll go in there, and you'll see a different Johnny Fisher for sure. For sure.
No, it'll be a good fight.
We saw Harlem Eubank out on Friday.
Yeah.
yellow shorts, red gloves.
Yeah.
Chris Eubank Senior in the corner, strutting around.
Chris is,
Was he sat there? Yeah.
I think, listen, I think he's a great story, Harlem Eubank. I really do. I think that he's.
Why is he not getting much attention?
I think he is starting to get more attention now against Tyrone McKenna at the weekend. I thought he put in a great performance. That 5th round when he just sort of timed the shot, slipped, uppercut, put McKenna down. He's a tough kid, McKenna, and he went out there. He got the job done eventually in the 10th round. I think he's improving all the time, Harlem Eubank, and I think he's at that stage now, 21-0, 9 KOs. Maybe he needs to sit down on his feet a little bit more because he's a little bit, keen to get the job done. But I like what I see with him, and I think that Chris in his corner, and obviously Chris is pushing. Did you see, by the way, that Chris was going on about this fight with Conor Benn? Chris Eubank Jr. is not going to happen. Harlem will be ready. I don't know if that's just a bit of kidology and just trying to get his name more out there.
Well, he's been saying that for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He said it when he came on a show. He said it when he came on Did Up Front with me. Apparently, he said it to Turkey Al Sheikh the other day. I have the ability to stop this fight.
Yeah.
I stopped the first fight. Yeah. It was me that stopped the first fight.
I don't think he stops anything.
No, the failed drugs test that Conor took.
Yeah, I don't think he stops anything. But look, let's focus on Harlem here. Like, I thought it was a good performance. I think that he's an improving fighter, and I think that he will get his opportunity.
I don't know whatever happened because Boxer and Benn, they brought Adam Aziz and Harlem Eubank into the middle of the ring and announced their fight.
It was on.
And whatever happened to it?
Yeah.
Because that would have been a great fight for both fighters at the time, and especially on the platform and Sky.
Didn't Adam Aziz get all caught up with the Dalton Smith argument and all of a sudden fell away, didn't it?
But they agreed on the head-to-head in the ring.
I think terms were agreed, and for one reason or another, the fight fell on its face, which is a shame because it was a great fight for both of them at this stage of their career. And a loss for either one of them was not the end of the world. They could rebuild, come back. So it was a great fight at that time, and for some reason we didn't get it. But maybe we get that fight now.
Harlem Eubank is improving all the time, and he is becoming a bit of a threat. And not where people thought early on, I wouldn't say joke, that's too disrespectful, but didn't really take him serious, do you understand? All of a sudden he's been maturing and taking box life and maturing into a good fighter. Touching on the old man, I just hope he turns up fight week for Benn Eubank.
He's got to. Yeah. I'm sure he will.
Walk in with your sheriff's badge, let young Chris go, Dad, you have this stage, do you know what I mean? And just take everything
away. By the way, because you've got a relationship with Chris, haven't you?
I haven't spoken to him for a while.
Right.
I haven't spoken to him for about 2 or 3 months. We crossed paths in the foyer the other day in one of the hotels where Turkey was. I can't go without asking you about the Eubank-Benn fight. I mean, do you love all this stuff? I mean, the press conferences have been full of controversy. The fight, to me, I rail against it because I don't think it's a proper fight because people are interested in it. But when I see Conor going up from 147 to 160, I know he's walking around fighting in 154, and his dad tells everyone he's walking around at 170, 175 as a walk-around rate, and Eubank's coming down to 160. I just think it's a fight that's being fought because of their parents. Yeah, and it doesn't have the legitimacy. But you, as a traditionalist and as a great boxing man, do you like it? Do you like all?
No, not really.
You don't like it?
The reason being, and it's not pouring water on it, is if Spencer was fighting in the day at featherweight and said, "You know what, I fancy my chances against the lightweight champion or light welterweight champion, I'll take him on." Well, you want to take him on, you take him, but you don't say I'll take you on, but you've got to be this way or not that way. That hydration clause, and they're saying Conor Benn walks around this. Well, what are you putting a hydration clause in Eubank Jr. for? I don't like that. No. If you want to beat the man, we'll beat him at his best, not hydrated. And there's nothing to suggest, and this is nothing against Conor, he's coming around, there's nothing to suggest Conor can deliver because no one's seen him in a title fight at Southern. Yeah. English, British, European. They haven't. And looking at his last performance in America or two that he had while this was going,
was it?
Yeah, there was nothing to suggest you could beat Eubank Jr. Now you look at Eubank Jr.'s resume. Yes, it's 35, 36, but he was in the World Boxing Super Series against George Groves, a big super middle. He went to Turkey and knocked out Yildirim. Then he ragdolled James DeGale round the ring. He's got that experience, and when he's motivated and focused, we're seeing what he did to Liam Smith. Liam Smith. I think Eubank Jr. just think he's too big, hits too strong, and that's it.
Right, that's it for episode 111 of Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver, and of course Joe Gallagher. Nice to see you. Keep well.
Yeah, cheers.
And we'll see you next time we're out.